This time on the Gadget Show.
We are going to save you money.
Want to know how to get your hands on the best tech without busting your bank account? Well, stay tuned.
Want to know how your old gadgets could be making money for you? Well, stay tuned.
Want to see John dancing at a carnival?
Joe Pasquale soaking Keith Chegwin.
Susie filming a bride losing her skirt.
And consumer champion Dom Littlewood going head-to-head with Otis.
I'm going to smack his backside.
Stay tuned, because watching all this can undoubtedly save you money.
It's incredible.
Hello and welcome to the Gadget Show.
On this week's show, we're going to show you that you might actually be able to afford some of the gadgets that you thought were too expensive.
Yeah, with tech prices coming down, it's much easier now to be able to afford that big telly or that multi-megapixel camera or that laptop that you've had your eye on without having to take out a second mortgage.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, Suze, but when we first started the Gadget Show, I think it's fair to say you couldn't get a decent 42-inch television for less than £3,000. And yet, in this programme, Otis is going to be joined by Dom Littlewood, and they're going to be testing decent tellies that will cost you less than 500 quid.
But first up, it's him and his laptops.
Yeah, in what must be, I reckon, the most surreal gadget test I've ever been involved with on the Gadget Show. It started with me pulling together 10 brand spanking new sub-£400 laptops and giving them a thorough going over. I wanted a computer that wouldn't stutter when opening applications. That was quick. So, for a fast performance, I chose only ones with a dual-core processor. My next criteria was RAM, to ensure that they could play videos smoothly. Only those with 2 gig of RAM or more got through. Can you believe that? I also demanded a good-sized hard drive for storing music and videos, so I got rid of the ones with less than 160 gig. Finally, I wanted a decent screen, which meant I booted those with less than 15 inches. Absolutely beautiful. After a couple of hours of intensive laptopping, I'd whittled the 10 down to 2 impressive finalists. And both pack a punch for their price. Both laptops look and feel great, and they work extremely well. But now it's Smackdown time, because only one of them will be crowned the Gadget Show's top budget laptop. To decide a winner, I devised some tests. And to conduct those tests, each laptop needed, well, a human. And that's where these two guys come in. I'd be pairing each laptop with a TV comedy legend. First, Keith Chegwin, who's been in showbiz since he was a boy and is one of the best-known faces on British TV. He'd be using the Samsung R519, a great-looking laptop packing a 250-gig hard drive and a 2.16 GHz processor. And against them would be Joe Pasquale, a star of stage and stand-up, including 6 Royal Variety performances. He had the compact Presario CQ60, which has a more modest 160-gig hard drive and a similar 2.1 GHz processor. All right, boys, you're going to be competing against each other in 3 different tasks. And it's the performance of your laptops that's ultimately going to decide your success or failure. The loser of each task, however, will face a somewhat messy forfeit.
It's a normal day for me and him, really, isn't it? Here we go again. You ready? Yeah, come on.
Test 1 was a straight-up race to see whose computer started up quickest. I had placed an identical text document on their desktops, and the winner would be the person who read out its contents first. 3, 2, 1, go!
OK, I'm on. I've got a light on.
I've got blue lights down the bottom.
Yeah, I've got a white light and a red light, but it doesn't matter. It's a light.
I've got the Samsung logo.
Oh,
Okay, that's interesting. Startup time is a great test of the processing speed and how well the computer loads the operating software and all its programs.
Yeah, you're going.
Oh, look, I've got the Windows logo.
Oh, look, have we done?
And after just 51 seconds, the Samsung had loaded up and Keith could reveal Joe's fate.
Oh, hang on, I've got the README file.
Oh, hang on.
I've got, well done, your laptop has done you proud. Now join Jason in foaming your sorry opponent.
Yeah, well, mine's just come up near. Mine stopped for a kebab on the way.
So Joe's compact had failed him. It was time to face the consequences.
Are you ready, Keith?
Ready?
I'm not ready.
Fire! Just make sure it's nice and smooth on the front though. Just a little bit in the ear. Take your glasses off. You're okay, Joe.
Don't.
Oh. There you go, mate. All right. Task 2 would test the processing power of these 2 laptops even further. I placed a 10-minute HD movie file that was nearly a whopping ½ gig in size on their desktops. I wanted to know which laptop would convert and resize it into a watchable MPEG-4 format first.
So, listen, I've got to be honest, I don't want to lose this round. I'm still a little bit moist from before, OK?
Well, I've got a funny feeling I might do this one as well.
No, you're not. All right? You're not.
This is it.
OK.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
3,
Yep.
2,
Yep.
1, go!
OK, right, it's converting.
Joe's compact quickly stormed ahead, thanks to the grunt of its 3 gig of RAM.
Look, it's on 20 seconds, and you're on 11. It's actually getting quick. I am miles back.
And it didn't get any better for Keith and his 2 gig Samsung,
This is so slow.
as Joe's lead continued to increase.
What are you up to?
I'm up to 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
I'm up 6 minutes and 43 seconds.
Should we
minutes
just
up front.
finish now?
3 minutes, love. I think you're a loser. You're going down.
I'm
you
going
know
down
that,
on
aren't
this
you?
one, aren't I?
Look, I'm just coming up to 10 minutes, Here we go. That's it. Oh.
There you go, job done. Congratulations on winning task 2.
Yes.
Now go and celebrate by dousing your opponent in water.
Oh, no!
We got our hands on a high-pressure fireman's hose that was about to spray Keith with 300 litres of freezing cold water. Now Joe had evened up the game at 1 apiece. There was still everything to play for. All right, fellas, it's time to test your laptop batteries, OK? This is the final test, and so we're raising the stakes. Look up, chaps, look up. You'll see 2 buckets. Unfortunately, there's something in them, OK? 40 litres of sticky goo. And it's going to fall on the head of whose ever battery gives up first. To sap the power from their fully charged batteries, Keith and Joe were going to load up a video to play on repeat while charging a media player via USB at the same time. All right, boys, are you ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1, go! When you're on the move, you want a laptop with a good battery life, as there's nothing worse than seeing the blank screen of death while typing an email or trying to watch a movie. After just a few plays of the video, there was a noticeable difference. Keith had dropped to 84%, but Joe was seriously struggling on 75%.
I'm not happy. I've got to be honest. I've got a bit of a cold sweat on.
And as time passed, it was apparent that the gap was getting bigger.
Oh, 50%.
50.
50?
So I'm going really strong here.
I'm down to 21 already.
Really?
After almost an hour and a half, Joe and his compact were close to the edge.
8%.
15%.
Really?
Yeah.
Just
it's
smack him, will you?
Soon it was all over.
I'm down to 1%. It's
You're
just
down to 1%?
1%, yeah.
It's gone!
It's gone.
It's actually gone!
Look, nothing at all.
We really probably shouldn't be here, should we? What? Excuse me.
Yeah,
Joe,
sorry. Shall I take that?
Yeah, take the Arcos.
Lovely.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Joe, lovely
You're
working with you,
lovely.
mate.
OK, go on then. Do your worst, monkey boy.
All right,
Go on.
well, I'm ready. Are you ready?
Oh,
Are you ready, Keith?
I'm ready.
Hold your breath.
Right.
Here we go.
What's going to happen? Oh, yeah, that's funny.
It is funny.
Come and cuddle me. Give me a cuddle. No. Come and cuddle me. Come and monkey boy.
That was
I
just
love
brilliant.
those 2.
I would pay to spend a day with those 2 guys. It was utterly hilarious. My stomach hurt. Anyway, some great laptops.
Great laptops, but it was the Samsung that won out eventually.
Yeah, it was. I mean, both were brilliant. I must say, the compact and the Samsung are great value for money. Under 400 quid, it's unbelievable. But yeah, the Samsung one, it also comes with a 250 gig hard drive. The Intel processor is good for crunching all the data. My personal preference.
And it looks good.
Over the AMD. It looks smashing. I think you can't say enough good things about this.
And the Samsung R519 is the Gadget Show's favourite laptop for under £400. And those 2 are our favourite celebrities.
It's complete nutters. Right now, though, it's time for a short break.
After that, John tests entry-level digital cameras on assignment for London's biggest free paper at the Notting Hill Carnival.
Welcome back. Now, I want to talk to you about digital cameras. I can think of few gadgets where the cheapest entry-level models can now offer such good quality. The problem is, of course, there are lots of them, and trawling through them all to make your choice can be a very time-consuming process. But worry not. My very raison d'etre is to do that hard work for you. And here in front of me are what I believe to be the 3 best digital cameras you can buy for under £100. But which one's best out of the 3? To find out, I headed for a big party in West London.
This is the Notting Hill Carnival. Every year, a large chunk of West London shuts its streets and well and truly lets its hair down. You couldn't ask for more colour, more action and more variety. A perfect test for my 3 budget cameras.
But I wasn't here for casual snapping, because I was on assignment for London's leading free newspaper, The Metro. They'd agreed to look at my photos with a view to publishing one of them as part of their Carnival report. But only if it was good enough.
My appointment with the picture editor is at 3 p.m, which gives me just 4 hours to produce something of the quality that the paper demands. The pressure's on.
I started with the Panasonic LS85. At around £75, it's well under the £100 budget, but it still has a healthy specification, including a 4x optical zoom, 8.1 megapixel resolution, and optical image stabilization.
This intelligent auto button could be particularly handy, rather than me having to decide whether to, say, activate the image stabilization or choose a particular scene mode. With intelligent auto, the camera should make the decisions for me. For example, if there's a bit of scenery, it might give me a small aperture for lots of depth of field. If it sees a fast-moving subject, it'll select a quick shutter speed to freeze the action.
I'd been told the paper was keen to see lots of close-ups in my final selection. But perhaps not that close. This is where the Panasonic's face detection technology proved useful, optimizing exposure and focus on the part of the picture that matters most.
My main gripe with the Panasonic is it feels a bit slow. It takes a while to start up, and you've got to wait quite a while after you've taken one shot before it's ready to take another. But in other respects, it's really rather impressive. It punches well above its price. As for picture quality, that decision's just 2 hours away now, so I better get a move on.
On to camera number 2, the Samsung L301. At £99, it's the most expensive of the 3 cameras I was testing. It's also noticeably the slimmest and lightest.
It feels very well made. You get a dial rather than a button for switching between the various shooting modes, and it has a 12.1 megapixel sensor, so I'm hoping for some extra sharp shots. But there's only a rather limited 3x zoom.
There's digital image stabilization and face detection, and unusually for a camera this cheap, a rechargeable battery.
Like other Samsung compacts I've tried, the L301 is actually quite complex to operate. You've got a menu button, a function button, and an effects button. It's not always easy to find the setting you want, though it does offer quite a bit of manual control. You can even adjust the colour of your picture for red, green and blue before you take it, and there's manual control of shutter speed and aperture.
My final camera was the Canon A480. At around £85, it features a 10 megapixel resolution and a 3.3x optical zoom.
The Canon starts up very quickly, which is good if you're trying to conserve battery life while keeping on top of the action. It's the cheapest compact camera Canon make, but it's still packed with features like 15 scene modes.
You can opt for full auto, or there's a program function which lets you adjust things like the vibrancy of your colours. However, one notable omission is any form of image stabilization, and the LCD screen has a poor resolution, with only 115,000 pixels, so I was finding it hard to check focus and exposure.
Well, whether I've got the shots or not, I'm running out of time. I've got to be at the paper at 3 o'clock, so I've got to rush.
I arrived at the Metro. Clutching my 3 compacts, I headed inside, hoping at least one of my efforts would pass muster.
Right, I'm on my way up to meet Alan Sparrow, the executive pictures editor. I know this isn't my day job, but I'm rather nervous.
First, a photo shot with the Samsung. And Alan didn't seem too impressed.
We've got some ladies in pink. It looks a bit soft.
It does, doesn't it?
In the middle there, it's a bit soft, whereas on the edges, it's a bit sharper, isn't it?
That's strange.
Which is it is strange.
That's the Panasonic.
It's a nice again picture, but quality of it seems a little bit not quite sharp here. Oh, interesting.
I like that one when I was taking that.
Yeah, that's quite nice, isn't it?
Was that shot with the
That's
camera?
much sharper, isn't it? And the face looks brighter and sharper. It looks overall better than the one we previously saw.
The big question for me is, do you think any of them are good enough for you?
Well, it's a wee while yet before we go to press. Well, I kind of like this girl here with the orange and everything. I think she's fine, and, you know, what more could you expect from the Notting Hill Carnival?
Well, thank you very much.
OK.
Oh, it looks like you had great fun at the Notting Hill Carnival.
It's a lovely day.
But the big question is, did you get your photograph in the Metro?
And I'm delighted to be able to say that I did meet the Metro's exacting standards. There it is.
Look at that. Well done. There it is. Look. John Bentley alongside Reuters and Getty. Hey, the big boys. That's fantastic. Well done. All right, then, so what did you think of these? Let's have a look at the G ratings.
Just 2 Gs for the Samsung, I think. It's OK on slow-moving subjects, but in the action of the carnival, it just couldn't cope. It couldn't produce sharp shots.
OK, so 2 Gs for the Samsung. What about the Panasonic?
3 Gs for the Panasonic. A delight to use, lots of features, got a great quality screen, but when you get the pictures back and look at them on your computer, they're just not as good as the pictures produced by the Canon, which I'm going to give 4 Gs to, because it's very responsive, very quick, delight to use, and really does by far deliver the best pictures.
OK, so the Canon A480 is the Gadget Show's favourite digital camera for under £100. Right, now we want your help to find the Gadget Show's Gadget of the Decade.
Yeah, at the end of this series, in a special show, we'll be looking back over the most important decade in the history of gadgetry and choosing our Gadget of the Decade, the outstanding bit of technology that has defined the last 10 years.
We want you to go to our website at 5.tv/Gadget Show and vote for your favourites in 5 different categories.
Best phone of the decade,
Best music gadget of the decade.
best entertainment gadget of the decade,
Best photography gadget of the decade.
best computing gadget of the decade.
And then finally, we want you to make your choice for the big prize, the overall gadget of the decade.
So go on, get online and make sure your favourite gets chosen.
Right, now it's time for another top 5.
Yeah, now while the rest of the show has been about gadgets that you thought you'd never be able to afford, and yet somehow we've shown you that you might just be able to, this top 5 is about the kind of tech that just about none of us could ever afford.
Yeah, so sit back and dream a little as I show you our top 5 money no object gadgets. Time for a little indulgence. OK, a lot of indulgence. Perhaps you've won the lottery, been signed by Man City, or simply been elected as an MP. Whatever the reason, you're flush and you want to be surrounded by the best gadgets that money can buy. Not the diamond-encrusted sort, but the type that really justify their price tag because they boast cutting-edge tech. So here's our top 5 suggestions of things that might just take your fancy.
Starting with our 5th place nomination, the Panasonic TH103 PF9.
This is a professional high-resolution plasma that thinks big. 103 inches big. And I've got to say, it's utterly amazing. Rather than being separate from the TV, with this, you actually feel as though you're in the picture.
Apart from its sheer size, what helps the Panasonic deliver its lifelike images is its massive contrast ratio, the difference between the darkest blacks and brightest whites. Plus, with over 4,000 brightness steps, every shade of the picture is displayed close to how nature intended.
The price? $57,000.
Number 4 in our money no object gadgets is the ultimate hi-fi from Cord Electronics.
These Cord systems are hand-built to individual customer specifications, and some of those customers know a thing or two about sound, like the Royal Opera House and Sir Paul McCartney. Right, let's wake up the neighbours.
There's a massive 480-watt amp to cope with all the decibels you'll ever need. And this Indigo control centre is particularly clever because its advanced Bluetooth technology means it can instantly recognise and play music from any other digital music source.
Expect to pay around $52,000.
At number 3, the Hypoxie Trainer S120.
Now, the makers of this machine realised that a bit of quick pedalling creates weight loss, but not necessarily always in the right place, which for most people are the legs, thighs and the bums. So the S120 creates a bit of suck and blow to those nether regions.
The machine works by sucking air out of the cavity below the waist, creating a vacuum.
Oh, that is a very strange feeling.
And then pumping it back in, creating pressure. It may make you look like a big fatty, but these constant changes increase the flow of blood past the fat cells, helping to metabolise them and get rid of that fat quicker. However, a small air leak in the rubber seal was affecting my concentration.
And the price? A cool 36 grand.
At number 2, the Ultrasone Edition 8 headphones. Their S-Logic technology delivers natural surround sound by reflecting the sound off your outer ear, rather than pumping it directly into the inner ear as conventional headphones do.
They create a sort of 3D effect inside your head, and like that Panasonic TV that I was looking at earlier, it's as if you're inside the experience and not receiving it from afar.
And it costs
£1,300 well spent, I reckon.
Our number 1 money no object gadget is the Dragonflyer X6.
Designed to carry both stills and video cameras, the X6 is very compact, but don't be fooled into thinking that it's just an adaptation of a normal radio-controlled aircraft, as I shall now demonstrate. Watch this. Cool, eh?
The X6 has a GPS system that you can load up with your chosen coordinates. It then uses this along with 11 sensors to work out where it is and adjust its height and bearing to keep in position and film exactly what you want. And the price tag?
23 grand and worth every penny.
Right, time for another short break now, but after that...
Otis goes head-to-head with consumer champion Dom Littlewood to try and find the best TV on sale in Britain for under £500.
And we show you how you can make some seriously proper cash from your old tech.
Welcome back to the Gadget Show.
Yeah, this week we've dedicated the entire show to finding top tech that pretty much everyone can afford.
Yeah, next up is Otis and a man who actually looks a little bit like me. I think it's fair to say. I've always thought that.
Let's have a look. Yay!
It does, doesn't it?
It does.
Going head-to-head to find the best value TV in the shops.
God, how can you actually see with these on?
I actually can't.
My challenge was to find the best possible TV for under £500. And to make things more difficult, I'd be up against consumer champion and possibly Britain's finest haggler, Dominic Littlewood.
Otis, yep. Feeling lucky? Yeah, I am feeling lucky. I'm going to approach it differently to you, because I know you're going to walk in, you're going to give it some of that like you always do, bite him down to the ground and walk out with a bargain.
Yeah, it's always worked all my life.
I'm in trouble here.
I'm going to smack his backside.
My first stop was one of the major nationwide electrical retailers. Now, I knew I was going to struggle if it came to outright bartering against Dom, so my secret plan was that tech would come to my aid.
Now, this one here has caught my eye. It's a 37-inch LCD TV from Samsung. It's within my price range at £499. I know it's a good deal, but how can I tell if it's the best deal?
To find out, I tapped in the barcode to an app on the T-Mobile G1. Because barcodes are specific to the product, not the store, the phone could instantly compare prices for me.
$499. So this here is the best deal.
So I had a marker, but I wasn't finished yet. Meanwhile, Dom was headed to some independent retailers. Now, on the Gadget Show, we always give shops our own DVDs to play so that we can check screen quality using the same footage. And as a special treat for Dom, I'd bribed the production team to ensure every TV he saw had my lovely face on it.
Oh, Otis on the screen. I thought this show was pre-Watershed.
Dom had found a 42-inch Samsung. That was 5 inches bigger than the one I'd seen earlier.
£479, modern, sleek, black, remote control, all the rest. I like it. Now, the only thing is, I'd like to see if I can get the price down. That's my style.
So Dom began to haggle.
What can we do?
That TV has already been reduced by over £100.
Just £100? Oh, I mean, it's not a bad price, but it's not good enough for me. Come on, let's have a deal.
His top tips are to stay silent when you first ask for a discount and open with a low price.
It's got to be a little bit better now, though, a little bit better. What about if I take it with me?
Another 20 quid off, OK? That's the best I can. That's £405.
Shop at quiet times and barter with a jovial attitude.
I'm going to have to let you know later on, though. Is that OK?
It's OK. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Munir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
With a hard haggle under his belt, Dom called me for an update.
Hey, mate, how you doing? How's it going? Have you seen anything yet?
Listen, I'm doing really well. You know, as far as I'm concerned, mate, it's all about size, and I have got a whopper.
No, Dom, you got it wrong, mate. It's all about picture quality. And I found a television with image so good, it literally leaps out of the screen.
Yeah?
In truth, Dom's bartering skills had me worried, so I went online in the hope of finding a bargain.
What's the point of wearing out all that expensive shoe leather when you can find great deals online? Come on, come on.
But finding a good TV was still taking time.
Give me good spec at a cheap price.
Finally, I found something.
Ha-ha! Pay dirt. This'll get you. There it is, a 37-inch plasma HD-ready TV from Panasonic, available from an online-only retailer, yours for £489.
I hit some sites like AV Forums and Amazon to read some real-life opinions on the Panasonic. When buying a new TV, always think about where it will go. LCDs are brighter, so they're best in well-lit rooms, but the picture can degrade when viewed from the side. So, in a softly lit room with lots of viewing angles, a plasma should look better. The reviews were good for my Panasonic, so I took the plunge and pressed the commit to buy button. Across town, Dom was making his final stop of the day, and it looked like he'd saved the best till last.
I found a retail outlet here that sells graded goods. Now, these are TVs that have either been replaced by newer models, or they might have slight marks or blemishes on them. Now, you have to take what's available on the day, but I happen to know that this Toshiba 46-inch LCD full 1080, a little while ago, was well in excess of £1,000. What do you reckon now? £800, £700, £600? I sound like a market trader. Yours for $499.99. That'll do nicely.
So, I was happy with my small Panasonic, Dom was happy with his big Toshiba. But who had bought the best budget TV? That decision lay with John Bentley, who didn't know who had bought which set.
So there's nothing in it in terms of price, really. Nothing. The Toshiba's giving a much brighter picture. Looks a bit rough round the edges, though, in comparison. Ah. Ooh. On this movie, I think the Panasonic's better. I'm going to go with the Panasonic.
Yes!
I think.
Bad loser.
This is fixed, I'm telling you. That's favouritism. Taxi!
I win so rarely.
Yes! Victory is once again mine. Thank you.
But there's no doubt that Dom proved you can now get an awful lot of telly for 500 quid with this Toshiba. Although the better high-def performance of the Panasonic makes it our certain winner.
Absolutely. So the Gadget Show's best value TV for under £500 is the Panasonic. And I'll amaze you now with the model number, because it's TX P37X10, which is the Panasonic.
Yeah, but we all know that the best way to get your hands on, you know, gadgets that cost next to nothing is to enter and win the Gadget Show competition.
And you better believe we've got a competition for you this week. It's an absolute stunner with no less than 110, yes, 110 separate gadgets for you to win.
It's as brilliant and simple as that. One competition, 110 prizes, and one of you will win all of it.
So sit up straight, stop talking with your mate next to you about how good it would be if you could win, and listen to the full list of what's in this week's prize fund.
You could win the Ultrasound Edition 8 headphones that were in my top 5 Money No Object gadgets, a PSP Go, 50-inch plasma TV, a 32-inch LCD TV, a 22-inch LCD TV, a high-def Blu-ray player and 20 Blu-ray movies.
An in-focus DLP 1080p projector, a 16-gig iPhone, the Samsung R519 laptop that came top in my test, a high-end desktop gaming PC, a MacBook laptop, a Samsung NC10 netbook, a Canon PIXMA printer,
A Nintendo Wii and Wii Fit DSi, a Microsoft Xbox 360, a year's free subscription to Xbox Live,
a PS3, a Pyromat gaming chair, and a whole lot of games for all the consoles, a loaded Dervish longboard, an Apple iPod Touch, an Arcos 5 personal media player, a 5.1 surround sound speaker system, the Canon A480 camera that came top in John's test, and a Swap watch.
a high-def Panasonic camcorder, a Sony reader, a Rovio mobile webcam, a Jura coffee machine, a bulletproof USB memory stick, a G-Shock Golfman watch, and an Oral-B Triumph electric toothbrush.
A Slingbox Pro, a Marin mountain bike, a pair of Skullcandy TI headphones, a copy of FX Home Special Effects software, a Berghaus Bioflex rucksack, a Magimix 5200 food processor, and a Yogi Gatekeeper Pico.
A Griffin Smart Talk Bluetooth headset, a Power 8 workshop, a pocket surfer, a pair of high-end ASICS trainers, a GorillaPod, a Philips webcam, a Cobb barbecue, a Wolf Eye Shark torch, a flat light, a Dyson ball vacuum, an Aladdin Challenger flask, and a Sony D100 digital photo frame.
A Pure Evoke 2S digital radio, a Philips juicer, a Tefal Actifry and a Flip Video Ultra.
A GoPed micro scooter, a Sansa Clip MP3 player, an X-Beat DJ system, a pair of Salomon Cosmic walking boots, a Tyrrell Wonder Sledge, a Rip Curl H-Bomb wetsuit, a Brompton folding bike, a Breville toaster, a pair of Canon binoculars, and a Garmin Forerunner 405CX sports watch.
It's a prize fund worth over 16 grand, and to be in with the chance of winning the lot, you need to know the answer to this question. Simon Pegg starred in which low-budget horror film? A. Blair Witch Project, B. Saw, C. Shaun of the Dead. To enter, call 0904 1616 555 or text A, B or C to 63555. Or send your answer, name and contact telephone number on the back of a postcard or sealed envelope to Gadget Show 10, P.O. Box 46556, London N10WW. Calls cost £1.50 from a BT landline. Calls from other networks may vary and from mobiles will cost considerably more. Text costs £1.50 plus one message at standard network rate. For rules, go to 5.tv/win. Lines close at midday on Monday the 12th of October and 2 days later for postal entries. Good luck!
Now it's time for the second top 5 in this week's show.
Yeah, and this is one that's quite close to my heart because it's all about how to make money out of your old tech.
We've all got old tech and gadgets that have been upgraded and replaced by the latest models. But rather than leave them cluttering up your loft, why not make them work for you and earn some cash? Here's the Gadget Show's top 5 ways of making money from your old tech. At number 5, it's selling your photographs online. If you're a bit handy with your camera, you might like to try uploading your entire back catalogue to a stock photography website. There's real money to be made. There are lots of good ones out there, including iStock Photo, Dreams Time and Photolia, and they each use a different pricing and payment system. You've got to submit your photo for approval, and once it's been given the green light, they add it to their library for punters to buy. You can make anything from 20 to 50% of the sale price of your image. And with images costing from £1 upwards, you could stand to make a considerable amount of money. That is, of course, if your pictures are good enough. Number 4 is all about the classic gadget, the stuff that you had when you were a kid that you've long since packed away in boxes in your loft. Vintage gadgets and computers can be worth quite a lot of money. For example, a phone from the 70s could be worth £100. You can get £200 for a ZX80, one of the original Sinclair home computers. Even a first-generation iPod could fetch you £100 if it's in good nick. So it's well worth having a rummage through the house to see if you've got any hidden gems. At number 3, it's a brand new scrappage scheme for TVs. Sony are doing a great deal where you can trade in any old telly and get money off a brand new Bravia. You just pop along to your local Sony shop before October the 18th. Oh. Take your old telly with you, choose a new one, and they'll tell you how much discount you can have. For a 26 to 37-inch telly, you'll get £50 back. For a 40-inch television, you'll get £100 off your price. And for a 46 to 55-inch telly, it's £150 discount. That's pretty significant. It's almost worth popping around to your nan's, giving her a bald sweet in exchange for her old telly. What's more, it's a great way to make sure you're ready for the digital switchover. The number 2 way of making money from your old gadgets is by trading in your old mobile phones. Companies like Biometronics, Mobile Phone Exchange and Envirophone will give you money for your old mobiles. Or you can use the handy mobile selling checker at moneysavingexpert.com to search across multiple sites. All you do is log on, put the make and model of the phone that you want to sell into the website and it'll instantly give you a price. All you do then is wait for your check to arrive. And you can feel good about yourself. You're making a bit of money, you're recycling, but the one thing to remember is you must wipe off all your personal data before you send it. And the number 1 way to make money from your old tech is by selling it on the world's number 1 auction site, eBay. With over 17 million users in the UK alone, there's an awful lot of people for you to peddle your wares to. Every minute, an MP3 player is sold. Every 21 seconds, a mobile phone. It's quite incredible. Clearly, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Now, the best way to sell your stuff is through an eBay broker. They manage your whole eBay sale for you, from taking photos, researching the best price for the item, and even shipping it out to the winning bidder. Once the sale is completed, they'll take their commission and send you a cheque. If you've not got an eBay broker near you, don't worry. You can still get great prices for your old kit. It's all about how you market it. When you're trying to sell your stuff yourself, make sure you take lots of good photographs of your tech so that the buyer gets a really good look at what they're bidding on. Next, make sure that your item's description is as interesting and information-packed as possible. A sketchy description won't sell a thing. Finally, have a good look around the site to see what similar items are selling for. You don't want to price yourself out of the market before you've even started. Follow these simple rules and you should be quids in.
Right, time for the last break in tonight's show, but after that I'll be testing brilliant entry-level HD camcorders by making my own clip show outtakes. Oh no!
Welcome back. Now, as you probably gathered, this week's show is all about getting your hands on the kind of tech you didn't think you'd be able to afford, but turns out you can.
You can! Yeah, and next up, HD camcorders. Can you believe that? I mean, it was only a couple of years ago that if you bought an HD camcorder, it would set you back, well, you wouldn't get any change out of £1,000.
Yeah, but now you can get a really good entry-level model for under 200 quid like these, and if you're cunning, you could get it to pay for itself very quickly.
Oh.
To work out what is the best cheap HD camcorder for just a couple of £100, I picked 3 of the best on the market and set out to film the sort of cringingly funny scenes that TV clip shows pay for.
They'll stomp up around 250 quid for good footage, so that basically means you've got yourself a free camcorder and £50 spare.
I haven't got time to find a guinea pig that does backflips or to wait for one of my more embarrassing aunties to fall over at a disco, so I've set up 3 of my own hilarious incidents to film. Carefully though, of course, because if you damage people or property for your footage, you could end up forking out more than the 250 quid in legal fees.
Right, let's get on with it, shall we?
For my first video, I'm testing the Sanyo TH1. It costs around £180. Even though it was the most expensive of the 3 camcorders, it was still well under budget. So, here's the first scenario.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith have brought their lovely daughter here to this lovely duck pond in Birmingham to feed the birds. However, their lovely daughter doesn't want to feed the birds. In fact, she's going to throw a giant strop and push Daddy in the pond.
The Sanyo records its high-def footage at the slightly lower resolution of 720p, not full 1080p.
So, for a 32 gig memory card, you'll get about 8 hours of footage. That'll cost you about £46. It's got a 30 times optical zoom, face chaser technology, and you can film from 2 seconds from standby mode.
The Sanyo does have one downside, though. The stills camera is only 2 megapixels, which is a bit disappointing, as most camera phones can do better than that these days. It was time to see how well it performed.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1, action.
Come on, come and feed the ducks.
Come on. Come and feed the ducks.
Come on, look. Come and feed the ducks.
Come and feed the ducks. Come on, come and feed the ducks.
Oh, no. Let's have a look, then. Here it is, look.
The Sanyo performed very well. It was intuitive and easy to use. The picture quality was excellent, the zoom was very smooth, and the sound quality was great.
Sarah.
Right, on to the second stunt, which I've set up to test the Toshiba Camilio S10. Available for just under £100, it was the cheapest HD camcorder I was testing.
Right, this is the scenario. Here's Amy. This is Amy's car. Amy needs to park her car in the only space left in the road, right there, behind that van. She's got to reverse park, but she's a little bit of a reckless parker. I do hope that she doesn't crash into those scooters behind. Right, while the girls are setting the stunt up, let me tell you about this gorgeous little Toshiba. It records at 720 and 1080p, but you'll have to get yourself an SD card to record onto. 32 gigs will give you about 8 hours of recording time, and it'll cost you about £46. Yep, just there's perfect.
The Toshiba stills camera was better than the Sanyo's at 5 megapixels, but it only had a 4 times digital zoom, not optical, which didn't bode well.
Ready, Amy? Action! Here she goes. Reversing in, nice little reverse then. Oh! I don't believe it! Amy, are you all right?
The stunt had worked perfectly, but what about the camera?
Here we go.
The 1080p footage played back very smoothly on the small screen.
Oh!
Good hit.
Don't even what?
I'll tell you what, though, the sound quality is absolutely rubbish.
I don't believe it!
And because I was in 1080p mode, it only does 2 times digital zoom, not optical, so that's not very good either. Right, time for the third and final video, which I'm using to test the Flip Ultra HD. The Flip was the world's first point-and-shoot camcorder, and it's recently been upgraded to include an HD model for around £150. So here's our next scenario. Gemma is our blushing bride. David is Gemma's fake dad. But when Gemma gets out of the wedding car, her dress is going to get stuck in the door and rip. There's the groom. You feeling nervous?
Yes, very.
This Flip HD Ultra has got 8 gig of memory built in, which is good for an incredible 120 hours of HD footage shot at 720p. The only downside is that once it's full, you need to download the files onto your computer before you can film anything else. This is what I absolutely love about the Flip. That USB stick. It downloads your footage straight away into your computer. No need for messing around with memory sticks, SD cards or tapes. Brilliant. Like the Toshiba, it only has a 2 times digital zoom. Oh, it's nearly time. And the screen is slightly smaller at only 2 inches. But how well did it do at capturing Gemma's big day? Action! There she is.
Dress.
The dress rip worked perfectly. Although I think the father of the bride probably took his role a little bit too far. I love a good wedding, don't you? The footage looked great, and the camera performed really well in lower light conditions. I was expecting the 2 times digital zoom to be a bit rubbish, but it wasn't too bad. Nice and smooth. And the sound was fantastic.
Yeah.
Sound was really, really good. Yeah. Top stuff. So, on to the G ratings. The Toshiba Camilio S10 gets 3 Gs. It's a great-looking camcorder that records good quality 1080p footage, but it suffers with a terrible digital zoom and bad sound. The Flip HD Ultra also gets 3 Gs. Although the sound quality and zoom are both better than the Toshiba, its higher price but lack of features ultimately lets it down. And the Sanyo VPC TH1 gets 4 Gs. Packed full of useful features with great picture and sound quality, it's the best all-round high-def camcorder for under £200.
I love the little girl. She was brilliant.
She was a really good actress, actually. But you know what? I was so impressed by all 3 of these camcorders. All fantastic value for money. And if you're the kind of person that's terrified of tech, they do not get any more simple than this Flip HD Ultra. But the Sanyo, you know, I just hold it, just put it in your hand. All the buttons are in the right place.
Yeah,
the zoom,
absolutely.
lovely smooth zoom, great screen, clear pictures,
It's really
great
well
sound.
balanced as well, isn't it? In fact, I think it's so feature-rich, that's the other thing, in such a small package. No, absolutely the right choice, Susie. So, the Sanyo Exactly TH1 is the Gadget Show's entry-level HD camcorder of choice. And with that, it's the end of the show.
It is.
We'll see you next time.
See you next week.
Next time on The Gadget Show.
Jason and I go head-to-head as we face the challenge of designing our own mobile phone apps with some pretty stunning results.
This is going to win. This is so much fun. Danny Wallace helps us to show how cutting-edge technology helps keep cars on the road.
And Radio 1 DJ Greg James helps Otis choose the very best headphones around.
Yeah, that I heard.